Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I have the great opportunity to introduce two great divers. Well, actually, they're going to introduce themselves. Please, Tynan, do you want to begin?
Yeah, I'm Tynan Callesen. I go by Tynan James from Australia. First time in Galapagos. Pretty cool to be here. Been working in the film industry for about 10 years. And then in the last 4 or 5 years, doing a lot of wildlife shoots for BBC, Nat Geo, Netflix, a lot of underwater stuff. So, but never been to Galapagos. So this is
Never? Really cool.
yeah. So this is it's a good opportunity, man.
Great.
Nice. So my name is Zimi. I'm from Switzerland. I work as I'm a DP, film director, filmmaker, photographer, and I work a lot for shark conservation, especially. We also, beside making films, we also created our own NGO with which we do like research. We tag sharks. We lead conservation projects, educational programs, and things like that. So yeah, I'm happy to be here in the Galapagos.
Wow, that is amazing, buddy. Both of you. Thank you very much to share with us. We're going to share some experience that you had, some message that you want to share. Let's begin. Such a pleasure, guys, to interview you. Well, the first question is, do you have kind of a checklist or mindset? Do you prepare yourself if you want to do kind of a shot before the dive, or you planning somehow how you are gonna going through the dive? Or
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what we're going for. If we're shooting a specific sequence for a production, normally we try and go for the low hanging fruit first.
Okay.
Especially we're often, having to give reports every day of what we've seen, and so being able to shoot some stuff early and show that we're working and we're getting good stuff. So yeah, normally start with the easiest stuff and then get progressively harder towards the shoot.
Go into the easy to
Yeah, easy to hard, and then look for the opportunities when something happening. But yeah, easy to hard is not generally how I do it.
That's a good way, yeah.
Yeah,
because you never know, so you
sometimes
I will see this.
Yeah, I mean, the harder the stuff, the less expectation is that you're going to get it. So get the easy stuff out of the way first, and then work your way through it.
Gotcha. Wow, that's a good way to do it.
For me, depends on the projects. Usually, I make so I direct the projects as well. So usually, I have a shot list first. I build a story of what I want to tell through the film and things like that. So I kind of have my shot list in mind because I create it, so I remember it. And then I think the most important is to be able to adapt, because we're working with wildlife, so you cannot always be I want this and this and that. So I always try to make the most of what I have. And in terms of proper preparation, for me, I think most important before the shoot is to think about what I'm going to shoot, try to think about the conditions, and then choose the lens I want to use based on what I want to shoot. If I want to go for wide, something super wide, or if I want to go for something more versatile, 24-70 or macro, or whatever, depending on the animals we're shooting and what I can. I try to guess how it's going to happen and try to go for the best lens, best gear as well in terms of lights and stuff like this. So yeah.
Okay, essentially you try to go in an order, but essentially you have everything, all the checklists in your mind, and it depends if something show up, if you can go from 1 to 8 and then come back to 3 and then kind of 5.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, that makes a lot of sense. Underwater, you never know what is gonna happen, right? Like today with the sharks and stuff that was so unexpected.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. So, what is your current camera rig? You have a lot of stuffs on it, so we would like to know lights and all the stuff that you are using for
So this trip we had a couple of different rigs that we were swapping out. So we had the Raptor in the Nauticam housing with a 24-70 lens on it, dome port. some light and motion 15,000 lumen lights on it. And then we also had the Canon R5 II in a nice little compact housing, no light, stripped down. And we kind of swapped between those two depending on what we were doing. The Raptor rig's quite hard to get into, like little crevices and nooks and underhangs, and it's quite big and hard to swim with in the surge and the current and iguanas. So it's nice to have a small camera that you can swap to
Right.
for that kind of stuff. But yeah, primarily shoot on the Raptor when you can.
Yeah, also I can see in between you have like a order under the water, and sometimes like you're shooting here and then another one from different angle, and then switching cameras and stuff like.
Yeah, so it really depends on what we're shooting, but yeah.
Oh,
default to the Raptor unless there's a reason to go to something smaller.
Of course. Yeah, I guess Raptor probably can capture everything, right?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
that's a nice baby. What about you, baby?
So I have like on my productions, I mostly shoot on Red Raptor as well. I have a Red Raptor and also Red Komodo that I like because it's smaller to travel with. And also shoot underwater with the Sony A1, which I love because I can do both photos and videos. And for this trip, since I wanted to do both photos and videos and was not just like a film production, I took the Sony A1 so I could take both. Have housing with lights. I have like 2 lights with I think both are like 18,000 lumens, and I use blue filters to have like a better white balance. And I also have I love using like a 360 camera for behind the scene footage. I think it's cool to see, like, especially when you have like big animals coming close and you can interact with them. Like we work a lot with sharks, not here, but a lot of time we have to like directly interact with the sharks. So I really like having like a 360 camera to show like the behind the scenes of how we like interact with sharks.
That is really cool. During the dives, I can realize that, like, once you are having like, I don't know, taking shots or filming something, like, you have to be really focused essentially in probably the frame that you want to have or the white balance that you want to have, but you don't focus or you don't sell yourself. Like from outside, it's really cool to see you.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have been also filming you and like enjoying actually a lot. But yeah, have a 360, then you have, I saw the shot kind of close, and then you can see yourself. And yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, like
really cool. Yeah.
I mean, oftentimes sometimes you don't even see the animal because you're just looking at this little 5-inch screen, and the animal comes in, and you're so focused on that, and then it leaves, and you never even looked up to look at it with your own eyes. So it's nice to have like a GoPro or a 360 cam, so you can look back on it and go, "Oh, that was enjoy it for yourself," which you don't always get to do in the moment. So
right. That part I think is really important. 360, I guess, is just amazing. Like.
Yeah, get some crazy stuff off them now.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, so this is a really important question, and he's actually, I want to know about it, because you are using both hands, right? And sometimes with buoyancy, you have to chase depths and stuff like, and with the camera, I find out it's kind of pretty difficult. Huh?
Yeah.
How you trim like your weight? How it works? Like.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on what we're doing. If I know I'm going to be on the bottom, I'll definitely overweight myself. So I can, if I go to the bottom, I can, dump all my air, and I've got quite a bit of ballast to be on the seafloor. Sometimes we'll take our fins off if we're just like on our knees and we're going to be down there for a while. But yeah, if we're in the surge or some.
Yeah, that's what I was seeing. I was watching Simi the other day. Like with the Marini one, especially like that surge, man, you have to be really difficult with the cameras. Like.
Yeah, I came back to the boat to take like extra weights, and that really helped. So yeah, I think having extra weights for that kind of conditions really help. And then you just try to find a way to block your knees on like some rocks, and sometimes I can hold a rock with one hand, or I can hold the camera with the other, or I try to maybe put the camera on the rocks as well, or try to find a way to keep the footage stable.
Right.
And also
So essentially, it's not much about like you follow the process, like, oh, you have to have like 2 weights here, a little half of a weight here,
Oh, yeah.
1 pound over here. Is essentially how like the conditions are.
Yeah, I mean, it's just I guess learning to do everything you need with one hand because you've always got one hand on the camera. So just being able to like, move stuff around and trim yourself and adjust your buoyancy with one hand, and then oftentimes I'll just have one glove on, and then so I can grab onto a rock, and the rocks here are quite sharp, so I switched to a glove after a few dives after my hands got
and then
pretty banged up.
The cats of the barnacles.
Yeah, so just like one hand on a rock, one on a camera, stick a heel in a rock somewhere, and just like wedge yourself in however you can. So.
But it's a lot of work for you. I was watching from sometimes with the search, I was trying to don't be like a flag side by side, and then you're so hard like grabbing the camera, like all this stuff.
Sometimes it's even cool to have like actually this surge and current, because you can actually like make pretty cool movements,
Oh, really?
If it's not too strong, like it can help you move around the subject, and like you don't have to do anything, you just go with the flow, and then you just frame your shot. You can create pretty cool movements. I like it. And also it's important to like, because we talk about the buoyancy of like us as divers, but also the buoyancy of the camera is important, because the camera can be like super buoyant. If like your camera is too buoyant, then you have to like hold it down, and then you're not going to be stable. Or if it's like too negative, you have to hold it up, and then it's hard because you have to hold it. So
like before to jam in the water, like you see how the condition are, how salty the water is, in order of that.
Well, not that much. I think you just have to try and like if you have like 2 lights, then you need like some floats to like compensate the lights or things like that,
And then when you are in current, that's gonna be also hard, right? Because
usually you try to have your camera being like not positive, not negative, like just neutral. Yeah.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Ideally neutral, but bottom heavy. So you want ballast at the bottom, like a float at the top, and then so you want it to be neutral, but if you let go of it, you want it to return like a pendulum.
Oh,
so that keeps your shots stable, and that's both left to right and front to back. So ideally, your camera, you might have seen the Raptor rig in the water. It sits perfectly neutral, and even if you put it on its side, it'll just right itself like that. So that makes a big difference, because you're not fighting it left or right or up and down. It just always wants to sit true and level and straight.
Gotcha.
So it's just tiny movements. You can literally with 2 fingers, you can move it around and push it. And
I saw the guys the other day playing with that, like just putting the Raptor.
And it just sits there perfectly. Yeah. So,
wow, that's so cool.
So yeah.
And also I was watching you the other day with the Surge and the Marine Iguana. For us,
it's tricky. Even for them, it was hard. I could see the iguana like trying to hold on the rocks.
Moving, like,
and sometimes they were like...
Yeah, good luck they have like nails and Okay, any kind of custom, I don't know, hats. I can see you have different type of suits, or kind of you like more kind of a free diving suits, or a special like gear that you wear to go into shoot, or it depends.
Not too much custom stuff, but just try and keep everything tight. No loose things hanging off me, just like a minimal amount of gear as possible. And just keep everything clean, and less stuff to get hooked on things, less drag in the water. So just keep things tight. No,
especially if you are in, I don't know, search or
or current. Yeah, it makes all the difference. I use like slightly longer fins for out here. They were like in between a dive fin and a free diving fin, just for like when you do have to swim after a molar or a shark or whatever, just a little bit extra power to get ahead of everyone else and get in front and get the shot. So
no, it helps a lot. 100%. You have a really cool fin, so.
I use my freediving fins. It's like when I travel, I usually freedive and scuba, so I just want to bring one pair of fins.
So you can use both.
Yeah,
Just in
exactly. Yeah.
case. It depends.
Yeah. And other than that, I always have like a little, I don't know how you call that, like a hook to attach stuff on my weight belt. Because I always bring the cover. It's dumb, but I always bring the cover of the dome and the water with me. And then once I'm in the water, I take it off. Because sometimes when I give it back to the boat, I've had a few times like they take it and then the dome gets scratched. And it's pretty expensive. So now I always bring the cover with me, take it off underwater, and before going out, I put it back on, and then
Yeah, I realized that after, I think the second day, like, why you put like...
Yeah, I have all the covers here on my belt, so I'm sure they're
so
protected.
useful, huh?
Yeah.
So you're under the water and like you have like those belts to put the tools and stuff.
Yeah.
Actually, reef hooks, I didn't bring one with me this time, but normally for, anywhere there's current, reef hook's super useful because you can just hook in and then you got both your hands free and you can, let some line in or out and you can change your position in the water and, super useful.
Super, and at one point for you guys, like, say, even for me, it's kind of strong current. I don't know how you are like dealing with all the cameras and then like all the search and the strong current.
Yeah.
Yeah. How you manage that, by the way?
Yeah, I mean, it's not too, I mean, they're pretty good in the water. I mean, they're neutral and it's a little bit extra drag, but yeah, I mean, it's not too difficult. It's, once you get used to it and
right.
A lot of times when you're, when you're not shooting, you can drag it behind you or just try and tuck it in under you. So you're, it's not dragging too much in the water, but
I guess especially if you have something interesting to see, right? Kind of doesn't matter.
Yeah, you just swim. Yeah,
right. If you have to swim, you have to swim.
I think that's one of the most important skill as a filmmaker, but not just for underwater, for everything. You have to be able to adapt for anything. Like any production you work on, is you have to be able to adapt. I think that's the most important skill, and it's the same, like, especially with wildlife and natural stuff. You depend on the conditions, on the animals, and everything, so you just have to adapt to be able to
I
shoot.
guess under the water is even you have to adapt so fast because I come from the jungle, for example. And if you can predict an animal for the sound and probably is walking by or like, I don't know, singing if it's a bird or something, or kind of underwater cleaning station and stuff like that. But for hammerheads, for example, it can happen in 2 seconds. So you have to be like really, really fast. Like,
yeah, and I mean, especially in challenging visibility, and you might only have 20 feet until you see the animal, and you got to be ready. You got to be
right.
You got to be sharp.
That's another cool of the 362, I think, because probably you are so focused, I don't know, in a turtle or in the blue waiting for, I don't know, a hammerhead or something. And you don't realize sometimes like the Galapagos shark are patrolling and they are really, really close to you. Once you see like the footage on the 360, probably you don't realize.
Yeah, it's not till you get up and someone's like, oh, did you see that shark behind you? And you're like, no, when?
We were laughing along with Julia today because you were like waiting for the the Galapagos shark. And he asked me like, why the guys are waiting so like focus on the target that they have? Oh, I see, kind of huge Galapagos shark is.
Yeah.
Oh, that one over there.
And then it came around behind us.
Yeah, it was behind us watching. The shark was watching us like, what?
Yeah, everyone's focused on this one part, and then it just came right around the back of us, and nobody saw it.
I think you passed around also, right?
Yeah, I didn't see the shark. We
were waiting a lot. That is another thing. You have to be, I guess, have to a lot of patience under the water.
Yeah. I mean, we do a lot of the work we do is on rebreathers for wildlife.
Oh,
and that's sometimes we're 3 hours underwater, and it gets boring sometimes just waiting for stuff to happen. Especially the rebreather because it's so quiet. Sometimes you just feel yourself drifting off, and you're like just waiting for something to happen or waiting for an animal to come out of a hole. Or,
right.
But yeah, you got to be able to pay attention for long periods of time.
Wow, that is. Well, I was having fun today. We jump in the water and we spent, I don't know, the whole dive actually there.
Hour 10 maybe? Hour 5?
Hour 20 actually.
Hour 20?
Yeah, but it was really interesting. Every time that we want to leave the area, like something happened. I don't know, a shark, a total array, and then the shark, and then it was really, really interesting. Nice. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, shooting conditions are light challenge. How do you find out like with currents, descent currents, or
I mean, light is definitely probably the most important thing in like filmmaking and photography. And I don't like, I mean, so first for me, like how I see light is it works the same underwater as out of water. Like you want to shoot, like if the sun is high up in the sky, it's not going to look good. If it's like end of day and the sun is on the horizon, then you get like nice contrast and it's the same underwater.
nice.
And also, so if you shoot like end of day or like sunset or sunrise, you get really good lighting when you're close to the surface with like nice contrast. You get sun rays in the water and stuff. I like this, which I really like. But if you shoot like during the day and the sun is high up, usually I don't like shooting too shallow because then like the sun is hitting the water from right above, and then you see, I don't know if there's like a shark just like 1 meter deep, you see like the surface of the water on the shark's skin, and it doesn't look really good. So I like being a little bit deeper. Again, you have to adapt because you cannot tell the shark, oh, please go a little bit deeper. But if you're like slightly deeper, then you don't get these shadows anymore, and the skin is like more even, and it's nicer. But then as you go deeper and deeper, you get less lights, but you also get like less colors. So you're starting to lose first the reds and so on. So it's harder to get like really nice colors. That's why we use lights as well, but they have limits, like it's not as powerful as sunlight. So
right.
So yeah, I think it's finding like a good balance between like all of this, but again, you have to adapt to like where the animals are.
Right. So you have to be kind of fast, like kind of changing or using I can see also how like you begin to move the angles to the light and how it works, like especially with bad bees. I always was thinking about that.
Yeah, I mean, lights it's kind of a double-edged sword. Like oftentimes, it's just too dark to shoot. You just can't expose, but you start adding lights, it starts to look artificial. You start casting a shadow in the wrong direction. You're balancing color temperature of the blue ambience and then the daylight of your lights. So it's like less is more. You just got to be enough light to light the subject, but not too much to make it look artificial. So it's just like, the minimum amount of light to be able to get away with it is often where you want to be.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's a whole art, huh?
Yeah. And then, Zimmy uses the blue filters to try and blend the ambient light and the direct light and make it look more natural. Right. Not too many people do that, but it's definitely like it's a good hack.
It's kind of your point, your trick.
Yeah, so basically like underwater you lose the red. So you want to So what I do, like some people use red filters, but that's a little bit old school. So now you can do like within your camera, you can change the white balance and make the image a lot more red. So you get these red colors back. Like if I use that same white balance that I'm using underwater, but above water, the image is completely red, as if there's like a red filter, but it's like inside the camera. And the thing is, then if I light up my subject with like normal lights, white lights, but since I have the red-white balance, then the animal or my subject is going to be red because I bring like white lights on it, but the camera is seeing red. So I put the blue filter on the lights, so it's like lighting up in blue just to counterbalance the red. So what is within the reach of my light is going to look good, but what is not within the reach of my light is also going to look good because my camera is seeing red. Right. I don't know if it makes sense, a bit technical, but
how did you get in
that? Does it make sense?
Yeah.
How did you get in that, like,
it's just by testing stuff. Yeah, at first I was shooting with just like white lights, and like I was not doing the white balance, but then like everything's blue if I don't have my lights. If I have the lights, stuff is good, but like if you are within the reach of my light, you look good, but then the rest is looking all very blue. And then I tried to like do my white balance, but then I put lights and then you're completely red because you're lit by my lights. So then I try to look stuff, and then I see that with the blue filters it's much better. And you can change also the density of the blue filters. Mine are like light blue, but you can have much darker blues. But also at the same time, if you put like darker blue, then you also lose light because like it's not going through. Yeah. So it's like a balance between everything. But I think, as Tynan said, best is when you have like natural light and you can work with it. That's obviously the best, but you cannot always do
So
it.
essentially, you have to be looking the best conditions in terms of light, time, and
Yeah, and you also have to adapt the white balance on the depth because the deeper you go, the more blue it becomes. So
Right.
usually I do one white balance around 5 meters, and then I save it in my camera. Then I do another white balance around 10, 15 meters. I save it, and then another one around 20 meters, and then I know like I switch it when I'm in the water.
right.
And also one thing that I find super tricky is that when you're underwater, your eyes, they also adapt to the color with your brain and stuff,
Yeah.
So when I look if I do like the white balance, sometimes when I'm in the water, like 20 meters deep, I look into the screen and to my eyes, it looks like super red. So I'm like, fuck, maybe it's too red. But then when I get out of the water and I look at it, it's like perfect
totally
because my eyes, they also like
they're trying
change.
to compensate.
Yeah, they compensate as well.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, so that's also making it tricky. Like sometimes I see it's red, but I have to be like, okay, I think it's gonna be good, and then I come out and it's okay.
It's probably happen when you spend a lot of time working in the computer too. I don't know, editing or you're watching a video. You say, no, this is like, no, I will take this and that.
Yeah.
And probably just you need to take a break and come back and you're
Yeah.
gonna say, wow, actually, it's like your ideal like depth to film, like in terms of color, light, and I don't know conditions. What is your ideal depth to film?
I'd say probably like 10 to 20. Yeah, you still got a lot of color. You got a lot of bottom time. Yeah, light and bottom time. If you got those two things,
Very true.
yeah. So yeah, probably that like 10 to 20.
10 to 20 is the idea.
Yep.
I would say, for me, I would say more like 0 to 15. Because like only if you have good lighting, like if it's like midday with no clouds, like the first few meters, the light is going to look really bad. But because I also shoot a lot of stuff free diving, so
okay.
also shoot like a lot of sharks at the surface and things like that. So yeah, but like the deeper you go, the harder it gets because like you lose light, you especially lose colors. And then as we were talking, you need to use lights, but it has its own limits and stuff. So I don't like shooting too deep, to be honest.
Right.
Yeah, maximum 15, 20 meters, I think is best. Sometimes we have to shoot deeper because some animals are deeper, but it's not as good.
Right. It gets harder and difficult.
Yeah.
Right. Wow. Okay. Once you go into dive, like, of course, you told me that you have a checklist, right? But you are thinking about UV storytelling or UV storyboard about like what you want to shoot, or just you picking it up while you dive, like in terms of what you are seeing, the conditions are, or you try to look and stay in that kind of stuff that you.
Yeah, I mean, it's tricky. Oftentimes we get sent out by a production company that has a very specific idea of the story that they want. So they've often storyboarded this thing, in complete detail, this shot, and then this interaction. And yeah, so that's that, we go out with a story that they want us to capture. Oftentimes we just think, oh, this is never going to happen. And then most of the time we get most, if not the whole thing. But yeah, in the back of your mind, you're always thinking like, all right, if we can't get any of this, then what's our backup story? So, if things aren't working, you need to be able to adapt and go. You need to be able to show them something that you went out there and you tried.
Kind of going in the same way.
Yeah, it's like, well, or looking for another story that maybe they didn't think of. Right. So it's like they had an idea of an angle, but you're like, well, what about this? This is happening. This is kind of cool. And then, as long as you can shoot a complete sequence that ticks all the boxes and has all the shots that they need to build it in the edit, then, that might be just as good for them. But yeah, you need to be able to come back with something complete from start to finish that they can use.
Right, just in case it's a plan B.
Yeah. So always be looking for a plan B or a C or D or whatever.
In ocean, you never know. Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly the same. Like usually I go with a plan, like I want to shoot this, but most of the time it evolves during the shoot. Because like I go with a plan, I try to do this, and then I say, okay, I'm not getting this, but I got this. So maybe I could like change the story so it fits what I already have. So based on what I already have, then what could I add on top of that to create like not a whole new story, but something maybe slightly different than what I expected. And again, as I was saying earlier, I think the most important thing is to be able to adapt, and it's exactly the same. Like a lot of time, like the stories that ends up in the film is not the exact same story that was planned at the beginning, but just because we're working with wildlife and like it's not like paid actors that we're filming, so it's important to be able to adapt. And like usually the stories, even if it's not like what was planned at the beginning, it's always cool as well. You just like tweak it a little bit and it works.
Yeah, with wildlife is so difficult. I don't know, like you have plenty of sea lions, like you wanna film all the interaction and all of them they're sleeping, so
Yeah.
you can't they wanna wait like until they wake up. Like, yeah, totally understand. Wow. Okay. Oh, this is a really good question actually, and I wanna know that. Uh, do you have an internal dialogue, or what do you say yourself when you have kind of a long day or shooting or diving, or especially kind of here in Galapagos we had a couple strong condition dives, and I don't know, in terms of air deco, or like I don't know, you're running out of air and you see the shot
Yeah.
like 10 meters down, and you are kind of couple minutes of deco, and
Yeah. I mean, first and foremost, it's like safety is your number one priority, especially when you're working for production companies, because there's always that push to do more, stay in longer, go deeper, more dives. And so you need to be your own advocate for safety and know when to say enough is enough, because, you'll get, they don't know, oftentimes they don't know the limits of, underwater, and sometimes they're not that familiar with diving, safety and operations. So,
interesting.
So you need to be able to like, set your own boundaries and be willing to say, no, that's enough for today. We'll come back.
Right. And say to yourself also, right? Like, no,
not
job, enough.
Yeah, I mean, no shot's worth, your life or, your buddy's life or something like that. So yeah, I mean, you want to push the limits as far as you can, but you want to like, give yourself a good safety margin, because, things happen quickly underwater when
The water is incredible.
Yeah, when there's a lot going on and current and animal, especially with dangerous animals, and, things can just go pear-shaped really fast. So yeah, it's always about, am I safe? Is the camera operator or my dive buddy safe? And then, go work from there.
Right. I think it's really important. Really, really important that, yeah, under the water, the limit is so tiny.
Yeah, especially with the rebreather shoots that we do, it's like, that's compounding the risk even more. So many things can go wrong, and you miss an alarm, or, something happens, and then all of a sudden, there's a cascade of things going wrong, and then it just
Right.
It's catastrophe. So yeah, staying safe and then get the shot second. Really, safety first.
Right.
Yeah, I feel the same. Sometimes I love the adrenaline and pushing the limits a little bit. So we've done.
So you have to know about the mountains.
I think it's important to know like your own limits as well, and also the limits of the people you're working with. Like for example, we work a lot with sharks. And sometimes, depending on the shark we're looking for, we have to chump. For example, when we work with like mako sharks or pelagic sharks and stuff like this, we put scent in the water, which also is another element, and things like that. So sometimes we've had situations that were like pretty intense with sharks, but I mean, I like it, and I think it's important to also know who you're working with. And I think it's when we only talk about like, oh, who made that shot and stuff, but like at the end of the liveaboard today, someone said, "Oh, thank you so much to the crew, because without you guys, we couldn't be here filming this." And I think that's a very good point, because also like on the shoots, sometimes we also have like safety divers with us, and like other people as well that play a huge role, but that you don't see on the screen, that are not holding the camera and things like that, but that are just equally important. And yeah, like I work, as I was saying, we work a lot with sharks, like big sharks, and like I know I have like some really good, like over time we became like really good friends, and I know it's people that I can trust, and that they also can trust me, because like they have also to be confident with me, like having their back and stuff. So yeah, I think that's also important, to know who you're working with and like have trust and things like that.
Yeah, I think, and especially on the bigger shoots, often, you know, we'll have a safety diver or a dive super. Having a good dive supervisor that'll have your back, and you know, oftentimes you'll push yourself because you don't want to be seen to say no.
Right.
Oftentimes the dive supervisor is like, no. And there's like a bit of relief on, because that weight comes off your shoulders, because you're not the one to say, all right, this is not safe anymore, and they can take that flack from the production. But yeah, having a dive supervisor that you trust, that you know is going to like has your back, and will, you know, if things, will just pull the pin if it becomes unsafe. That's huge. You know, someone that you trust with your life.
Well, that's important. Well, first two things. I think the first one, of course, you are putting your life essentially in somebody else, or you relied on somebody else. And that is really important, because sometimes you are so committed in something, when you, I guess, you are so focused on something that you're going to get it, and probably you are not getting at the time. And you tend to push more the limits than you really know that you are passing or crossing the line. That's one. And the other one, now that I'm working in this environment, now I'm working on the living boards, and I seeing you guys. And since a child, I was so fascinated with all the shots and documentaries and stuff like. But of course, just you see the best scenes on the best scenes, but you never know what is behind the scenes. Like all the logistics that you have to do, all the travel that you have to do, all the stuff that you have to carry on, or in a crazy current just to film, like probably, I don't know, 10 seconds of. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot of work for like such a small amount of screen time. It's like,
yeah,
crazy.
So incredible. Okay, let's keep going. This is really interesting, actually. Have you ever had a situation where, like, I don't know, creativity and vision conflicted with the safety? Yeah. Many times.
Yeah.
See me many times.
We had I remember I was telling him just earlier today, we were doing a dive with like great hammerhead sharks in the Bahamas. And we were diving for like 2 hours. It's pretty shallow, like just, it was like 10, 12 meters, but we dove with one tank for like 2 hours. And then at the end, I was like, oh fuck, I'm running out of air after 2 hours. And then I started going back up, and at around 5 meters, I had no more air. But when it's not deep, but just 5 meters with no air, you cannot inflate your BCD.
Right.
And you don't have air, and you have to kick, and like your stuff is heavy. And also like we were way overweighted, because we stayed the whole time like on the bottom. So I don't know, I think I had like probably 20 kilos of weight on me to like really be in the bottom. So then just like swimming with no air, no BCD, just 5 meters, that was a bit tricky. And also another one was in the Indian Ocean. We're filming thresher sharks, and then was pretty deep, like 40 meters. And then like oceanic manta showed up like even deeper, and we're like diving on normal air. And I think we went down to like 65 meters with just normal air to film the manta. So that was a bit like, most of us got narked, but everyone survived.
Everyone survived.
Yes.
Like, how long it was the Dico stove?
Like 17 minutes.
It's like, oops.
Yeah, when we filmed the threshers, we always go into deco almost every day. Yeah,
because
you have to wait, and it's deep. Right? Okay.
Yeah, I've had some actually, I had a scary situation last year on a shoot. We were it's a night shoot. We're in a river, crystal clear water, but it was underwater lighting. So we spent, I think I was in that water for 9 hours, just like cabling lights up and down this channel and just swimming. And I think we went through 3 tanks or something for the night. It's like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Cold water too is like maybe 8 degrees, 9 degrees, in a dry suit. And then, 2 or 3 a.m. finished. All right, that's a wrap. We're done. Absolutely exhausted. I got out of the water and then pulled my waist. I think I took my mask off, kicked my fins off, and then just pulled my buckle on my waist strap. And then someone dropped something in the water in the river just behind me. And they're like, "Oh, Tynan, just grab that." So I just, without thinking, rolled back into the water because it was only like 5-6 feet away and I could almost touch it. But weight belt on, no fins, no mask. Weight belt pulled me straight down under the water. And then because I'd undone my waist, my BCD flipped up. So it was like pulled myself up and I couldn't get to the buckles. And then the river started taking me down and I was just like fighting for air, like trying to keep my head above, like kicking. And then, it took for a while for someone to realize what had happened. And then safety diver came out after me, wrapped their legs around me, unbuckled me, got me out. But it was like split second, stupid decision. But and then
well, you're tired and like.
But and then that's the next day. The dive supervisor's like, "That can't happen again. We can't spend that much time in the water. That's too late. It's too long." So he had.
Right.
But having someone that will like go in and tell the production that that's enough. That's too many hours. We need to like be more realistic in our expectations. So
right.
Things happen quickly in the water.
Okay, guys. Could you please invite everyone that is watching us in this podcast to come here to Galapagos and enjoy here on the Galaxy Diver, please?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the Galapagos Islands are definitely one of the most amazing places I've ever been. I've been to not everywhere, but a lot of places on our planet filming underwater live, a lot of stuff. And the Galapagos has to be one of the most amazing places I've ever been in terms of variety. I think there's no other place like this. It's pretty crazy. Like one dive, you hear like you and like Paolo, the other guy, like, "Okay, here we're going to see mola." And then we see mola. Then next dive, "Oh, here we're going to see hammerheads." Then we see hammerheads. Whale shark. Okay, next dive is the marine iguana. It's like Disneyland. So everyone should come here at least once to see it with their own eyes because there's no other place like this.
100% agree. Yeah, that's why I'm keep doing this.
And also out of water, all the birds and everything. Like we saw so many really cool birds. Like they're chilling on the roof. Like it's amazing. It's really.
I
amazing.
love that.
Yeah.
I love that. It's like a storm the birds sometimes when they're flying.
Anyone that's interested in marine the marine environment, or it's the Galapagos has such a special place in the world. I think you should definitely come down here. And the Galaxy Liverboard is like by far the nicest dive boat we've ever gone. You've got 2 cappuccino machines. You've got nitrox whips. You've got hot showers, hot towels. Like this will ruin you for diving anywhere else. I guarantee you.
I'm a little bit sad we didn't go in the jacuzzi.
Oh, and a jacuzzi. So everybody should come down here at least once.
Yeah. And they should to come here on the Galaxy. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, here we are with Explore Tales of Galaxy Expedition. So please follow us and watch all those podcasts on the YouTube channel of Galaxy Diver and Galaxy Expeditions. I will highly invite you, please, to follow us and keep watching, and in the future, new podcasts with such interesting divers.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Such a pleasure.
Thanks for having us.
No,
Thanks.
actually.
It's been awesome.
Yeah.
Sad to go.
It has been like the whole week pretty busy because everyone is doing their own stuff, and we never had kind of, especially with 4 dives, kind of have more chance to
have a chat.
To talk and chat and stuff like that.
Yes, it's good, man. We'll be back.
I hope to see you next time, man.
I hope we'll be back, man. I'd love to come back.
Oh,
Thank you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
sure.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Time to pack.